It is good. It's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over and talking about my top 10 budget options, budget cards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, just to preface this video, there are going to be a lot of the Evo cards in this video, NBA Tournament Battle Evo's cards. Now, again, you would have to get these cards and Evo them, but they're 14,000 MT. And I mean, as far as Evos are concerned, some of these cards are going to be absolutely tough to beat. So, I mean, I know, again, Evos are never fun to do, but if you put 3 of them in a, like, triple threat offline lineup, or even if you have to go into, like, a skills challenge game, shouldn't be too difficult for you guys to get most of these things done. Now, we're going to start it off at number 10. And I'm plugging in Sapphire Ben Simmons. Now, this is an interesting one, but I feel like I've got to plug Ben Simmons in as somewhere just for this sole fact of, you know what, he's point guard eligible. And I know people are going to be like, Ty, it's 25,000 MT. And yes, 25,000 MT is the most expensive on this list. And if you don't want 25,000 MT to be budget, plug in Bob Pettit instead of Ben Simmons, who is way cheaper. But I think for his value, Ben Simmons is really solid. He is 6'10", decent speed, decent defensively, can compete on the interior, and offensively, again, he's 6'10" at the point guard position. If you want to get cheesy, you can with this card. Now, again, I'm not trying to sit here and say he's super cheap or, you know, even worth the 25,000 MT, because that's a lot of MT. But I'm telling you guys right now, if you are trying to be a cheese ball, or if you're just not very good at the game, you're probably going to have success with Ben Simmons. As sad as that is to say, as sad as that might sound, I mean, you'll probably have success using Ben Simmons if you aren't super good at the game. And for 25,000 MT, a 6'10" point guard that has decent speed has to be plugged in somewhere. At number 8, Sapphire Ben Simmons. This is more of what I think of when I think about a budget guy, right? Where, you know, you're looking at 4,000 MT for a really solid option at that small forward position. Now, here's the thing with Shane Battier. When you think of 3-and-D players in my team, I think you gotta mention this card. You got to. I mean, shooting wise, perfect with the, you know, catch and shoot with the Claymore badges like that. But defensively, he's outstanding. 6'8", good frame at that small forward position. Good 3-ball, good speed, really solid defensively. There's just nothing that Shane Battier can't do. And I think that's what impresses me about this card the most, is just his versatility on the court. He's a guy you can throw out there and trust. And look, even if you don't have the LeBron Jameses of the world at the small forward position, even if you don't have, let's say, the Kevin Durant of the world, you can throw Shane Battier out there and he can go out there and compete. Is he going to be as good as those guys? Obviously not. But I'm telling you guys right now, do not sleep on a Shane Battier in my team for 4,000 MT. It is tough to beat. At my number 7, we're plugging in Sapphire Larry Hughes. Now, is he my favorite budget point guard in the entire game? No, he's not. But he's up there. He's definitely up there. And he's definitely close. And I think if you guys told me he was your favorite, I understand it. I totally get it. Where do you want to start with this card? He's 6'5" and plays outstanding defense. Outstanding. 86 speed, decent interior, 87 perimeter, 88 lateral quickness. And then when you look at the defensive badges, he even comes with 94 feet, glove, interceptor, you know, right stick ripper, which a lot of people don't even use that badge, so I can't sit here and gas it. But I'm just saying, you know, Larry Hughes is good defensively. Offensively, he's just fine. Pro dribble style, decent release, 83 ball. There's really nothing bad to say. If you need a point guard and don't want to have to worry about evoing, Larry Hughes is your guy for 10,000 MT. It really is that simple. Really is that easy. A card that, I mean, if you've ever used him, you're going to like him. He's that good in my team, especially on that defensive end of the court. Coming in at my number 6, this one might be a surprise to some people. Emerald Bol Bol, 7'2", 7'8" wingspan. I know he's 19,000 MT, but my whole thing here with Bol Bol is this. He is 7'2", can shoot the ball, and defensively, because he's 7'2", he's not horrible. Now, I will say this, okay? You come up against, let's say, a guy like Shaq. Shaq will absolutely bully Bol Bol on the interior. I mean, Bol Bol doesn't have anything that can compete with a guy like Shaq, considering he's got 57 strength. And so that's something I do want you guys to consider, you know, when I'm talking about Bol Bol. Some of these other bigs are going to bully guys like this. But with that being said, that doesn't mean, like, you can't run Bol Bol. He's got hot spots from everywhere above the break. He's 7'2". And for a budget big, I'm going to be honest, he is still a cheese ball. Sure, he's not going to be as good as some of those other guys, you know, those all money spent type players. But I'm telling you, when it comes down to budget bigs, doesn't get much better than this for a stretch big Bol Bol. For 18,000 MT, you can do a lot worse. Now, I just realized I was a number in front of myself, but that is a-okay. At my number 6, we're plugging in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And if you don't know about KCP, I'll explain it really simple, really easy for you guys. This card at the shooting guard position is a card I could not recommend more. I mean, from his ability to play defense, his great release, there's no flaws in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think when you're looking at complete cards, especially rubies or lower, it doesn't get much better than KCP. Now, I'll talk about some diamonds, Evo diamonds as we go through here, but those are going to take a long time to Evo. One of my favorite parts about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is if you just focus strictly on Evoing this card, you'll have it done in, you know, 20 to 30 minutes. And I can't, look, I can't phrase it enough how important that is. I've grinded enough Evos throughout this NBA tournament battle set when it's been out that I am so tired of grinding Evos. And so the fact of the matter is, yes, KCP's Evo is relatively easy, but I don't think people realize how important that is. Not everybody just wants to spend their whole day grinding, you know, Evos out. And so for KCP, the fact that it's an easy Evo as well, I do think is important. Knockdown shots, plays good defense. KCP coming in at my number 6. At my number 5, we're plugging in Dorian Finney-Smith. Very, very similar to Shane Battier. The big difference here is Shane Battier is not going to be the rebounder that Dorian Finney-Smith is, whereas Shane Battier, you know, as far as a perimeter option, probably is better. To me, it's all preference based. Yes, Shane Battier is cheaper, so value-wise, I'd say Shane Battier is probably better. But let's say you got all the way Evo Dorian Finney-Smith compared to Shane Battier. I just think Dorian Finney-Smith, especially rebounding-wise, again, is just more of a complete option. More total badges, stuff like that. Obviously, again, perimeter defense goes to Shane Battier. Rebounding does go to DFS. It all really is preference-based. For me, when I've used both cards, I think both cards are really solid, and I think it is kind of that tough question, and it comes down to preference. So I don't think there's a wrong option for me. I do give this slight edge to Dorian Finney-Smith, who comes in at number 5. The sad part is neither one of those guys are better than my Terance Mann Emerald card, who comes in at number 4. The best value card in the entire game is this card right here in Terance Mann. There's no other value card that is going to be this good for the foreseeable future. All of the all money spent people, all of the, oh, you can't use budget cards and compete, they go out the window because Terance Mann is in my team. And it all comes down to this. When you look at T-Man's stats, when you look at his badges, you're like, okay, I mean, but Dorian Finney-Smith, Shane Battier is way better, right? It's not even close. Well, yes, but they don't have the Terance Mann base on quick. And you guys can say I'm gassing the Terance Mann base on quick, but I promise you, if you've used the Terance Mann base on quick, you're going to agree with me. It is that good. It is that elite. And if you've not used it, you probably should use it. Terance Mann, 6'5", does it all on the court. And if you are balling on a budget, definitely a card I would pick up to use for your specific squad. At my number 3, when it comes down to budget ballers, Jarred Vanderbilt. Now, the problem with Vando is his last couple of Evos were just so sorry. Like, especially this last Evo. Sure, the strength went up, got some finishing badges, but like, why can he not get anchor? Why does he not get clamps? It just makes me mad that I gotta Evo Jarred Vanderbilt, right? I gotta spend time. I gotta spend 15 minutes Evo in my Jarred Vanderbilt, all for him to barely get better. Now, there's no question, this card still is really solid at the power forward position. Rebounds-wise, plays good defense, but you gotta do all of this, right? You got to get 11 and 9, 10 blocks, 12 rebounds, 12 three-pointers, 27 assists, and 14 rebounds in a single game. Do all this and then this. I mean, Jarred Vanderbilt probably, I don't know exactly, I would guess as like a 2 to 3 hour Evo. And the fact of the matter is, his stats and badges don't get that much better, especially after the first couple of Evos. And that's my big thing for Vander. That's the thing that bugs me the most is I want this card to be, you know, one of the best budget cards in the entire game. But I just don't see, I just don't think the Evo is as good as it should be. And I'll compare it to this card right now, who comes in at my number 2. Bobby Portis Jr. Yes, Bobby Portis Jr. surpassed my Jarred Vanderbilt for my number 2, just because his last Evo was actually useful. Like, if you look at Bobby Portis Jr.'s last Evo, you're going to give him Hall of Fame box out beast. That by itself matters a ton. And look what else. +3 on the 3 ball. You look what else. Well, his perimeter goes up 5. I mean, he gets better, whereas some of these other guys we've talked about don't. He gets Hall of Fame catch and shoot as well. So yes, I'm going to put a guy who gets a ton better over a guy like Jarred Vanderbilt when they were already close. I mean, Bobby Portis had him in the height. Vando obviously had him in the defense. But I think when it comes down to it for me now, I don't even think it's close. I do think it's close, but I think Bobby Portis Jr. is the more complete option, is the better option. And if I were to start over right now, I would grind out Bobby Portis Jr. before Jarred Vanderbilt in my team. At my number 1, when it comes down to budget cards in my team, we're plugging in Derrick White. Another card I would recommend. If I'm you guys and I'm grinding Evos, the first 2 I'm grinding are Derrick White as well as KCP. Why? They're not nearly as long as some of the other ones. Derrick White, Hall of Fame Challenger, Hall of Fame Clamps. His release is fantastic. When it comes down to budget point guards, I don't know if there's a better one for me than Derrick White. This is a card that's going to play on my No Money Spent Squad series for the foreseeable future. A card I've had a ton of success with, and I'm excited to continue using for me and my No Money Spent Squad series. That's going to wrap it up for our budget card tier list, guys. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're doing it. As always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.